end up in a concentration camp. My parents taught me manners and obedience, but most of all, to honor and respect God, to pray, to have faith in my fellow man, my country, and respect my parents and my relatives, and do the best I can in school. I love history. My history teacher was wonderful. Wonder sometimes what became of her. I was an 8th grade student. I never finished it. That day they come while we were celebrating the birthday. They busted in through the doors with their machine guns and screamed. And the butler told them this was a private party. Please do not go in. You're not invited. At that moment he got shot. Everybody from the rooms were moving toward the foyer. A big house with a lot of big rooms. Everybody was stunned to see the Germans shooting the butler. My Uncle David started up the stairs. They told us, insult us, get your coats and get outside, you bastard Jews. Get your coat and get outside, you bastard Jews, right now. Don't talk, don't make any noise. So my Uncle David started up the stairs to go get the baby, which is taking a nap. And the German said, halt, halt. And he told him, I'm going to get my baby. I'm not going anywhere without my bag. That's as far he got. He got shot with the machine gun. And he tumbled down the stairs. 2 innocent people. Then the upstairs maid brought little David up from the bedroom to the stairs, and he was screaming. Naturally, all that noise must have woke him up. And she couldn't keep him quiet. And the German yelled, keep that bastard Jews shut up. Get him shut up. Get him to shut up. And she probably did not hear him because the baby was screaming. Started down the stairs innocently. And the German pulled that machine gun and shot the baby, David, and the upstairs mate. And they tumbled down. I'm standing like I was frozen in my boots. My mother's holding my hand and told me not to talk like this. No, no. I keep saying, what's happening? Why are they doing this? What do they do? You ask me, what do they do? They didn't do nothing but being human beings. But because they were Jews, the hatred was there. Then they loaded us up in the trucks, took us to the railroad station. At railroad station, as cold as it was, the wind was blowing. They unloaded us, and you can see on each side of between the rails, those cattle cars, box cars, with on the top with a German SS with the machine guns pointing at us as we was getting out of the truck. They shoved us into those box cars, which is like that. This is the way the box car looked. Not very big for 108 people plus the musician that were in my house to entertain my great-great-grandfather. This car was shot behind us, and there's no air or daylight except for this little tiny window on the side. The snow was coming through it, little tiny right here. That's how we were closed in like pigs, like animals. There was no mattresses, no blankets, no bathroom facility, no water. The first thing, the kids, my cousins, great cousins, I've got to go to the bathroom, I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, when do we eat? What do you explain to 4 or 5 years old what's going on? You stood there because you couldn't even move around. You were inside like this, like sardines in a can. No air to move. And when you needed to go to the bathroom, the man will make in one corner, circle around it like that with their back toward us, and the person will go behind him on the floor in that boxcar and make number 2, number 1. There was no way you can clean it up. Is that a human way of life? What have we done to deserve that? We're Jews. Hatred for Jews. Hatred for anybody that Hitler did not agree with or want in his way. You got hatreds today. You hate blacks, you hate Spanish, you hate Chinese, you hate Japanese, you hate Jews. You hate the fellow from the next town. It's not right. We're all human. We all need the same thing. We have to be educated to know that people are people, good and bad, and we cannot hate a whole nation, a whole race. But it happened. Hitler didn't care. So for 3 weeks, we were on that, almost 3 weeks, we were on that cattle car. One morning, after we woke up, my Aunt Sarah was crying and praying at the same time. Little Jacob was dead in her hands. She baby feeded him, breastfeeded him through the whole time we were on a train. And he gave up. He starved to death and he died. So she wouldn't turn loose of him. There was no way she can bury that poor little kid. And we all watching her. And my uncle crying. Little Jacob was so peaceful. Then they opened the door and told us to come out every morning to get us some bread in a cup or mug with mushy looking soup. That's all we got once a day. And as she got in the line to get something to eat, which she was still crying, the Germans spotted her. And he picked up the child and threw it in the air and told the Germans up on top of the car to shoot at it. Ski shooting. At the human being that's already dead, a little innocent child, not even a year old. Your heart gets deeper and deeper hurt. I'm only 13, I'm supposed to be in school. I'm supposed to be learning, not watching all this tragedy going on, starving to death, watching my relatives die one by one. Who is there to help us? No one. No one. Every day for 3.5 years, almost 3 years, 3 weeks, back to the concentration camp, and we arrived there. As we arrived there, we were filthy, we were dirty, we were starving, we were everything you can think of. No bath, no clean clothes. I had put those pictures of my mother and father in my riding suit in a jacket pocket to keep it with me when my granddaddy gave it to me that night before we were taken away. I had that enlarged to show you what they look like, my mom and dad. And And they took us inside the camp, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people wandering like zombies with the striped uniform and no hair. They were all bald-headed and skinny as a skeleton. And the smell, with the dead body piled up on each side of the place where we're coming into. Dead people piled up. They don't even bury them. It stunk. Decay. The worms and the flies and everything is right on them. And you wonder what's going on. They tell us to make a circle, half a circle like that, and to take our clothes out, everything except our shoes. Take all your clothes, take all your jewelry, all your possession out of your pocket. And that's when I reached for my pocket and got my mother and father's picture. And I have my boots with fur inside. I just slide it down. I slide the pictures inside. I wasn't about to give my pictures away. They took everything, my rings, my bracelets, my watch, my earrings, my clothes. I wasn't going to give it to them. I hid it between my boots and my socks. That's how I saved the only worldly possession I had of my life. Till this day, that's the only treasure I have. The picture of my dad and my mom. And we stood there naked in a courtyard. The snow was coming down and the wind was blowing, and we were standing, men, women, and children, pitch naked. No clothes. Cruel again. And then they told us the woman was going to come in with a wagon and she was going to give us uniform. And she did. And then they say the kids before age 16 must come to one side of the room. I mean, not the room, the yard. And the babies and everything on that side. And they came over there with their mothers, the lean one and the big one. My mother said, don't tell them you're 13, stay here. You're tall, you're well developed, you don't look like you're 13, you look like you're 17. So I passed by for 17. And then they give us the uniform and we put that on, and no underwears, nothing. No jacket, no sweater, no coat. And it's winter. Then they say, all the males go to the right, and all the females go to the left. And that's the last time I saw my father, grandfathers, uncles, cousins. Never again I saw them. And then when we were on this side, they took us to a building and they told us to get inside 3 or 4 at a time. They shaved our heads. All women that was in that bunch, everyone gets shaved. Then they took us to another building. They told us to open our mouths. We did. And we had gold or silver in our teeth, either fillings or caps or whatever. They just took a regular pliers that you would use working in a yard or in a garage or whatever. And they yanked it without any anesthesia. There was no anesthesia, there was nothing to deaden your mouth. And not only when you have one gold tooth, they get the whole area, the whole side. They took all my bottom teeth and all my top teeth. The only thing I have is my front teeth. I haven't had a regular teeth in bottom and top since I was 13. I wear partial plates to eat. But now, they took you to another place and they gave you a number. They tattooed you like an animal. And that's how they call you, by that number. My number was D for Dachau 2832. I had that number removed after I came to the States. My mother-in-law couldn't stand people asking questions what it is, and upset me every time. I wasn't able to talk about the concentration camp for a long, long time. So she made sure the doctor removed it. Now, when we got through with that, they took us to the barracks where we was going to sleep. And there's a bunks on each side of the room like that, 3 times as long as this place is. And on each side of the room, there are bunks, 3-story high. There's no blankets, no pillow, no mattress, nothing. You got a tin uniform, you slept on that hardwood. There was above the bunks, there were small windows and a small coal stove to warm up the building. That was all. And the guard said to us as we got in there, she says, now, one sleeps with their head this way, the other one sleeps this way. See, there's no dividing between the bunks. That's all like this thing here. You just line up everybody. One this way, one this way, one this way, one this way. And you sleep like that, real close. You had to, because you wouldn't be warm if you didn't. And then she says, we will blow the whistle during the night to check up to make sure nobody escaped. At least 2-3 times a night. They don't even let you sleep. But before that, when you come down from the bunk to be counted, make sure there's not a dead Jew in there. You pick up that dead Jew, you take the uniform and their shoes off. See, everybody slept with their shoes on. And then you take them outside and pile them up with the dead bodies. And keep the uniform and the shoes, and I'll pick it up. That's how they treated us. Every day in the morning to 10, 11, I don't know what time it was, we didn't have any watch, they will line us up to get something to eat. Around German black bread, around about this size, cut in 2. And that one half, you got that half for the whole day. That was your meal. And a little mug with that, I call it a mud. It wasn't no soup. It looked like soup, but it isn't. That's all we got once a day, every day. That's your meal. You don't complain. You don't say nothing. You just do what you're told. And then you're selected to work. You work in a factory that was down the road, part of the camp that made ammunition, bombs and shells and rifles and whatever else they did. We had a wheelbarrow to load up the ore in the coal and bring it to the door. There's what they call a lift, not lift, what is it? No, it's not chute. It's like an escalator thing, and you put the thing emptied there, and it goes into the factory to burn the coal or the ore. All day long, rain, snow, cold, hot, nothing. You didn't get no time to relax. You did that every day when you were selected for that job. And when you wanted to go to the bathroom, there was no bathroom. If you stooped down there to go to the bathroom, they come and hit you with their foot right in your backbone, or hit you with their club over the head. You didn't even have a piece to go to the bathroom. That's how we were treated. How does a 13-year-old child understand all that? You learn in a hurry, brother. You do. You obey what you're told to do. You don't complain. You follow the rules, or you're dead. And so, one day they start selecting for different work. And we went to one of the buildings. In that buildings, before that I think, when we were put in uniform, each country has a star, and that goes on the uniform. All different stars and circles and stuff go on your uniform to be identified from what country you are. This little star says in the back, I got this from the Holocaust Memorial Museum because I'm a member, donate money every year. That is the Bulgarian star, Jewish star that stands for Bulgaria. And that was on your uniform. But the day we were selected to go work, we were put in a building as big as this, and maybe larger, with a hole on the top, an escalator this way going up, to sort out the shoes. Hundreds of thousands of shoes that they took from those who were killed, exterminated, gas poisoned, or died. Because the shoes is the only thing you kept. And we had to sort out the boys, the children, the girls, the men, the women in different barrels. And that barrel was filled. We had to put it on an escalator. The escalator would take it upstairs, and some German Nazis will be up there, and he'll empty it again into the room. What purpose was it to sort it out if you're going to throw it back down? That was another torture that you had to experience. It didn't make sense to me. It didn't make sense to no one, but it made sense to them because that's the way they were. Then we go into another room. The other room, there was hair piled up to almost to the top of the room. Hundreds of thousands of pounds of hair, human hair. They gave us a little piece of wood with the holes in it to make brushes of it, and then they gave us a long stick to make broom out of the human hair. Those hair that they shaved from our heads, we had to make brooms and brushes. It make your stomach turn. Then there's a room with jewelry. The jewelries from those people who they took into the concentration camp was piled up in a room like that again. The watches, the wedding band, the diamond rings, the gold rings, everything, school rings, college rings, friendship rings, all lie on top of each other like that. And they made us sort it out. Sort out the gold, the silver, the diamonds, this and that, and put it in a barrel, get it up, throw it down again. I used to look so hard, my mother too, to find her wedding band. Grandmother looked for hers. I looked for my school ring. You get a school ring as soon as you join, you become 13, and we couldn't find it. But they made us do it over and over and over again. They took from the Jews all that jewelry. I don't know what they're going to do with it. Then there is the most horrible place that I had to work in. I got sick of my stomach. They opened the door and you can smell that stink. It stunk so bad. Wow. Why? Because the tables on each side of the room, lined up from one end to another, had human skin. Skin that they skinned you from here down all the way up the back. And put the skin on the table, you can still see the belly button. And another table on this side, they have the hands cut off up to here, like this. Little children's hands, little babies, men, women, on the table. And then they give you a frame of a light to make shades for a lamp. And you had to take that skin and cut it exactly, or they're going to hit you. They give you a needle and whatever it is that they give us, thread. It's not a thread, it's more like a upholstery thing. And make you cover that lamp with a human skin. Then they take you to the other table and give you the hand of a little child or man or woman. And they have a L-shaped wood. And they want you to put the hand against it and nail it here for a book ends. And then when you nail it down here and here and here, you paint a David star with black and yellow, and then write Jew inside. What was they going to do with those things? The lambs and the hands, bookcases. The American soldiers shook their heads and could not understand how anyone can do that. But they saw what happened. My husband was one of those soldiers that liberated the camp. By then, my parents, my relatives, since I didn't have any sisters, I had a lot of cousins. They were all gone. When my last love died, my mother, she got sick with dysentery and yellow chiders. She couldn't walk, she couldn't work, and if you couldn't work and couldn't walk, you were put in a gas chamber. So that morning when we got out to be lined up for work, the guard spotted her dragging her feet. She was 32 years old. He grabbed her and dragged her to the gas chamber. But before she left, she gave me a kiss like that and said, "I love you. Obey the rules. Do as you're told. And tell them, you must tell them." And I said, "Mother, who should I tell what?" I had no idea what my mother was talking about. I knew 40 years later, she wanted me to tell the world, anyone who can listen, to tell what happened to all those innocent human beings. And they took her to the gas. And they gassed her with poison gas. And that afternoon when we got back from work, my mother was lying there. She was lying on that pile. And the worms and the flies were eating her. She was naked. And I felt guilty. I felt so guilty that I can't do a thing for her. God, please cover her up. Please, God, don't let her be eaten by insects. I'm just a little girl. What am I supposed to do now? But maybe my daddy is alive, or my granddaddy, or maybe my uncles. But it wasn't. I was the only one to carry on my family After two different families survived the Inquisition and the Russian prosecution, I survived the Holocaust alone. No one to help me, teach me, guide me, tell me what to do. But God was there. Without God, I couldn't have made it. My faith in God never went away. I used to get mad at him and say, why are you letting this happening? Why don't you help us, God? But then I realized my religion teaches me that God does not interfere in man's bad doing. He only gives strength, courage, patience, and wisdom. So that was my prayers every day. Please, Lord, give me strength, courage, and patience. And please, God, don't let me lose my temper. It won't be good for me. I can get hurt. But I was alone, walking like a zombie from day to day in that big place with deads all around, walking deads and dead deads. And then one day, we heard a big ruckus. And then there was the American soldier, the troops with the tank and jeep and truck coming. And there was the flag. Stars and stripes. Believe me, when I saw it, I knew, because I spoke 7 languages, and one of them was perfect English at the time. And I knew more about history, about American history, about the Constitution, about the flag, George Washington, Lincoln, Jefferson, Adams, Hancock, all those men who made this possible for us. When I saw that flag, my heart beat so hard, I thought I was going to have a heart attack. But I thank God. I held my heart when I saw that flag, and I swore to God, I will always fly it whenever I am. I will get me a flag and fly it for those who died, in memory of the boys who died and those who liberated me. My husband was only 20 years old. He was so kind. He's from Florida. He told me what warm weather there is, I will never freeze again. And he later on proposed to me and married me and brought me to the States. I've been married for 51 years to the same man. I've got a 49-year-old daughter, 30-year-old granddaughter, and a 28-year-old granddaughter, and my son-in-law. That is all relatives. That's all family I have in this world. But I never forgot the day I was liberated. In my home, in my yard, I fly the flag every day unless it's real windy or rainy. I fly the flag because it reminds me of that day when I look at the blue on a corner in the flag. It reminds me of the skies that I used to pray to, that I can be a bird and fly up in the sky. The 50 stars we have now used to be 48. They represent each state of the Union. And they remind me of the stars I used to count at night so I could fall asleep because I was so hungry. And then I see the stripes, there are 13 stripes. They represent 13 United States original states. Each state in the Union was at that time. And the red stripes, there's 7 red stripes and 6 white. The 7 red stripes represent in my heart the soldiers the people who fought for our freedom from England, for our freedom in World War I and II and Spanish War and the Vietnam War in the desert. Those who died for you and me to be free, to have liberty. That flag is that what reminds me of. The white stripes, the 6 white stripes remind me of the purity, the dedication of those men who had the Constitution and worked so hard to make it work. Gave us democracy, self-governing. It breaks my heart when I see people step on the flag, have no idea what that flag is all about. You wouldn't be free if that flag wasn't there for you. And your fellow man who died, fought the war, came home as a veteran, no arms, no legs, no eyes, emotionally sick, because they seen the horror of the world. Please, thank God you're free. Honor the flag for my sake. I do. It doesn't take long. Now, when I think of my freedom, I also think of my not having a chance when I was 13, 14, 15, 16, or 17 to finish school and go to college. Do you know what I regret the most in my life? I regret that I never had the education that I wanted so bad. My people were wealthy. I could have went to England or to America or to France to study. But no, I was deprived. For 4 years my life was shambled. No one cared if I lived or died. What I give to be educated. But when I came to this country, I went for a job. I realized how hard it was. I got a manual job to be a maid in a department store for 78 cents an hour. I said, well, I'm not giving up yet. God, give me the strength. I'm going to take a course and I'm going to be a buyer. Buyer for ready-to-wear for women's clothing. My boss gave me the chance and I worked. I gave my best. And when I got my time in studying and got my papers, he made me a buyer, from a mate to a buyer. But I worked hard. I obeyed every rule. And I didn't give up. I never give up. If you give up, you're finished. You've got to keep on going. No matter if you come from a broken home or if you come from people who are involved with drugs or because you're poor. This country gives you every opportunity to go to school. Get your high school education. Think what you can do to earn little money to take a semester each time. Pick what you like to do in life. You will be grateful to me because I know how hard it is not to have education and how you will regret it when you get old. Ignorance, illiteracy is awful. It's a killer. You're so young, you know it's hard work. You're not going to do it alone. You got to have your parents, your teacher are so important to encourage you to stay in school and to get education. Please stay away from drugs. Stay away from alcohol. That will ruin you. I have thousands of excuses to get drunk, right? Look what I've been through. Hey, nobody cares. Do I drink? No. I don't go on dope. I don't take any kind of drugs without a medicine prescription from the doctor if I needed it at the time, because it will damage your brain. You're a cripple. It costs money. Nobody cares for you. You're a tramp. You're a bum. Being on drugs with people who try to get you to starve is what you call losers do that. And you're not a loser. You got all the opportunity in the world to get yourself educated, stay sober, don't take anything that's not right, stay away from criminal things. Don't let the police get you in trouble. Don't get in trouble so the police can get you. It is not easy to be a teenager. I didn't know what teenagers are all about because I was locked up. I was a slave, worse than slave. I don't know what it is to go dating, to go to the movie, to have a little sweetheart, to drive down to the drive-in. No, honey, I didn't have all that. But I had it when my daughter was getting grown up. I watched her, enjoyed her, and I teached her. I've got a daughter who is a doctor. I work hard, my husband worked hard. We put her through medical school. She's a surgeon, and I'm proud of her. The one right here after my wedding picture, that's my daughter. Then the next one is my granddaughter, the dark-headed one. She's got a computer and business degree, master's degree and bachelor's degree. And Michelle, the last one on the end of it, she's a model, but she's also graduated from Alabama University with master's degree and bachelor's degree. I made sure that my children, grandchildren, and my daughter had an education. I don't have to worry about them. They're all making good money. They don't have to depend on mama. And they're happy. They're independent. They're good kids. They weren't perfect, believe me. They had ups and downs, but nothing serious. So make your parents proud of you, your teacher proud of you, your friends proud of you. Be proud. Stand out as a wanting to learn, wanting to do right. My mother always told me before she died, she always used to say, follow the rules. I said, Mother, at home I follow the rules, here I gotta follow the rules. And she looked at me, she says, honey, the world revolves around rules. You think I used to say, when I grow up, I'm not gonna do anything you tell me to. She says, wait and see, there's more rules when you're older. Pay taxes, go to work, take care of family, and learn how to drive and obey the driving speed limits and so on. Yes, we never escape the rules, but we have to adjust, adapt, and be patient, because that's how you make a happy life for yourself. I do this because of my mother's wish. I don't charge any money. If the school want to contribute to the Holocaust Memorial Museum in Washington, D.C., that's fine. If they don't want to, that's fine. The only thing I ask for is to pay my gas if I'm driving myself over here or wherever I'm going. I go to all the schools all over the plains. See those books? Those are books from different schools. Do you hear me? And I take pictures of the young people, the students, and they in the reverse write and make all kind of art forms and send me a letter to tell me how and why they really appreciate me coming to the school. To tell me their own problems, like my daddy and my mother's are divorced and I feel like they don't love me, blah, blah, blah. And I like to listen to what they have to say. I keep this for my archives. I also would like to take a picture of you all to keep it in my archives so my granddaughters can pass it down to their granddaughters someday. But I love to talk to different schools because when you're young, you don't appreciate until you stop and think how much you should love your parents, hug them every time you come home from school. And God, please tell them you love them. Because I never had a chance to tell my daddy before they took him away, I love you. But I told my mother. It happened so quick. I always told him I love him when I was home. So you don't want to neglect that. Tell your friends you love them. There's nothing wrong with loving someone. Just because she's a girl and you go, love as a friendship is different. And tell your parents you love them, the grandparents, your teacher. Tell the teacher how much you appreciate what she's teaching you. She's the guide to your life. In the later life, you will look back and say, Miss So-and-so was my teacher, like I do, the history teacher, and say, boy, I had a good teacher who cared, who taught me something. I'm grateful. Stop and think. Maybe you want to be a teacher sometime. Become a teacher. But I appreciated my teachers, and I wish that someday I can tell them how much I appreciate teaching me history and geography and languages and stuff. Don't leave the house without hugging your mother or father. Tell them you love them, because you never know what can happen. You're so young, and you need guidance. And your parents are the ones who can give it to you. And teacher can help. Respect your teacher, respect your parents, respect your principal, and your friends. Do your best, obey the rules, and read the Bible, maybe it'll help you. It did me. All my life I've been going to temple every Friday, and I'm grateful for it. I want to take a picture of you. What's the matter with my... I'm not very good with electrical things. What? Well, the light's supposed to come on. Let's see, we'll try. Let me take this first. Did the light go on? Yes. Thank you. Now, teacher, your teacher will give it to, I will send it to me. You make a book like that with the pictures in it, so I can keep you in mind and in my prayers. See, this is where Hail Center. My husband said, oh, what the hell you say? He's a comedian, you know what I mean? Every time he comes up with something, oh, what the hell you say? I said, well, it's Hail Center, I'm going to. Well, honey, you better watch out, that much of hell in there. But anyway, I want you to write me a letter, express how you felt while I was talking. What kind of home you had, what your parents doing for you or you doing for them. Do you have relatives that you lost and how you felt about it? And tell me what your plans are for the future. I want to know. You are part of my life. Telling this story is not easy. Every time I tell you the story, I'm not here, I'm back in the concentration camp. And my heart and my head relive every minute of it. And I get choked up. I forget the word I'm trying to say. But I'm trying to tell you, it is not easy for me to do it. But I'm doing it to let my mother know that the world will know about it. Those 6 million Jews, men, women, and children, and so many Gentiles, Christian people, gypsies, handicapped, who were gassed up and burned alive. I won't not forget what happened. So I would like for you to think about it, how much you have, and how grateful you should be, especially living in this wonderful free country. That's all I have to say. Thank you.